just seeing US President Trump says China can now continue to purchase oil from Iran. They will be purchasing plenty from US also.
What's up, traders? Welcome back. What's going on, everybody? We're just getting situated here for the New York session open in 10 minutes. Couple things we're watching, putting together a watch list. If there's something you want me to check it out, drop it in the chat. We'll throw it on the watch. Get some coffee. Light them if you got them. We got a ceasefire, so nothing really else on the news as of right now. Nothing really expected. I'm going to keep the music playing in the background until I get situated because YouTube's got a bad habit of just launching into commercial breaks whenever someone is quiet on a live stream. I don't know how to fix that. So I like Hype because Hype is coming into the June VWAP up here. This blue line, that's going to be your June VWAP. I kind of like it to the downside still. On weeks, it's not shortable beyond like 500 coins for some stupid reason. So that's probably why it's had such an explosive move the last 3 days. This is bullish. So I'm not loving the short, but if I see any significant volume come in here, up here at this VWAP, I will short it. Same goes for Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is bullish. Let me turn this down. I think Bitcoin is bullish right now. But it's had a bad habit of putting in these fake breaks and then dropping back under. I mean, obviously we had support hold. This is the area we were watching Sunday when it sold off. We went into a live stream for the members and we were basically looking to get long as June's low or the old June low held. We held. So, I mean, there you go. There's that. Oh, hopefully you could catch that. I specifically
just
told
some recent
you guys.
trade on those latest Trump remarks on China and oil have seen WTI and Brent prices pressured. WTI now down to $65.10 after being around $66 pre-announcement.
I specifically told the live stream to watch support. I don't care what time frame, hourly, 4 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour. It don't matter. You can clearly see support held on a closing basis. I mean, that's your entry. As long as you're not closing candles below that price, you don't have to be, you're not being threatened. So, I mean, that was a good entry. The reason we took the trade was because we did a big fat liquidation of the 100K Big Fig and June's low. There wasn't much liquidity left to go down. And let's be honest, it wasn't much of a war. It was just Israel bombing Iran and Iran sending rockets Israel's way. Now, people did die, and obviously I pray for those people. That's never good, but no one declared war. So, I mean, and we have a ceasefire. So hopefully everything goes, pray for the families of lost ones and then pray for no more war. War's bad. But there was some crazy stuff going on yesterday while it seemed as if though it was about to break out big because the U.S. got involved in everything over the weekend. It literally just was bullish all day. The markets were. So the markets were basically saying that it was over yesterday. Now, is this overpriced here? Well, we're going to find out. We're testing June's VWAP right now. Bitcoin is. On Thinkorswim, you're actually just under it. Let me show you that monitor.
Update from
right here. Oh,
Iranian president says we will respect the ceasefire if Israel respects it.
So right here's the purple line is the monthly VWAP. That's the futures though. It's Bitcoin futures. So it's a little bit different than the spot market, but the spot market and the futures both have the monthly VWAP. June's VWAP, volume weighted average price for the month of June, is really close to near term price. If you think this move is overpriced, then clearly you would be looking for a short. If you think that this move is not overpriced, then clearly you are looking for a long. Here's the thing. Do we liquidate the day's high and then go down? Or do we liquidate the day's low?
Coming up in about 10 minutes, we are looking out for a text release from BOE's Ramsden.
Or are we going to be an inside day?
From Ramsden in the BOE decision last week did dissent on the decision to hold rates.
All right. So I'm going to kill it, the squawk, because I really don't, if I'm going to try to talk, I don't want to be talking over him and be getting interrupted and all that at the same time. But basically, I'll put the news up on my monitor, so that on the monitor that I'm not using, and I will let you know if anything pops up that's relevant. I mean, we really don't give a crap what the news is, or because I mean, knowing what the news is isn't going to help you as far as edge-wise when it comes to trading, because it can be the most bullish news in the world and the market may take it as bearish or use the liquidity to exit positions or whatever, liquidate. Because that's essentially what we saw yesterday. I mean, if you think about it, everybody in the world was super bearish yesterday because war, bad, nuclear, World War III, all of it, and everybody was short. And the smart money was long. Clearly. Very, very long. So hopefully you didn't get caught up in that yesterday, trying to short every single level that's on my chart yesterday, because that did not end well for you. Okay, so I mean, on an intraday time frame, it's sideways AF. You can't get any more sideways than that. There's your day high. There's your day low. I mean, you are sideways. ES and Qs both at highs. So here is your all-time high on your ES futures. Oh, it'll be a legit breakout if we see a significant move up in volume. Then we can look at it as a potential breakout, and then we can be just bullish AF. But I want to see that confirmation with a very big candle today and a big strong close above your all-time high. This is your NQ all-time high right there. The actual price is 22,450 on NAS. And the ES is 61 something. 61.66 spot 50. And 22,450 on NQ. Here's your pre-market or intraday. You're testing intraday VWAP, testing intraday VWAP. Clearly not getting anything going. As far as any expected high risk news event today, there isn't anything. Fed Chair Powell is going to have testimony at 10 o'clock, but we already know what he's going to say. He's going to say that he's going to be a data dependent chair going forward, right? We just had an FOMC meeting last week and they didn't do anything. He's not going to say anything earth-shattering, potentially. I mean, if the markets start to sell off at 10 o'clock really hard or start to go up at 10 o'clock really hard, just know that Mr. Powell said something. It doesn't really matter what he says. It's how does the market take what he says? What do we do with that? And then Disney, let me go back over here to the list that I was building at the beginning of the stream. Disney, that is not the list. Disney and Amazon are both potentially looking like plays for today. Amazon looks like it's getting ready to make a run. If you look at the 15-minute time frame here, notice your 200s, they kind of usually give you adequate support and resistance. So here's a period where you were getting resistance. And then over here, support, resistance, broke out here, support. Well, here we are again. So this looks more bearish because your 200s are sloping down. Well, actually, they're flat now, but they're going to move up and down depending on what price does. I would say right now on Bitcoin or let me go back to hype because it's actually, we got our point of control right here. So I'm going to give it about 15, 20, 30 minutes to do what it wants to do on the initial volume or on the initial open. See what kind of volume we get. See if it wants to move higher or lower on the opening range breakout. Apple is falling. Nvidia is moving up. I only bring those two. Microsoft, Nvidia, and Apple are the biggest markets in the world. So these three markets, if they're in tuned and all three doing the same thing, that's generally the direction you want to be in the overall risk markets. You can clearly see Apple is trading on lows this morning. Microsoft really isn't doing anything. But I mean, it's at fresh high of day, and then Nvidia is at fresh high of day. So if two of them are moving higher and Apple catch a support, then you probably would rather be bullish on FUTs like the ES, or if you're looking to buy stock SPY. Also, your advanced decline line is bullish. It's 1260. Anything over the zero indicates more bullish strength on the overall markets. Anything under zero is obviously the opposite. Anything at 2000, positive 2000, means extremely bullish and extremely bearish on the opposite side. So we're kind of in that zone where if we do get an initial push lower on the advanced decline line, that could be a potential support test buy. Unfortunately, we had such a massive move to the upside yesterday. It's going to make getting long anything kind of difficult. ETH BTC. We looked at ETH BTC on the video that I uploaded yesterday. It looks really bad. Overall, long term, it's garbage. I mean, comparatively, basically what you're doing with this chart is you're trading Ethereum, but you're trading it versus Bitcoin instead of the dollar, right? Whereas the ETH USD looks better than this chart, but comparatively, Ethereum back in 2017 was so much stronger than Bitcoin, but that hasn't been the case since. So Bitcoin is obviously the better of the two, right? If I'm going to be long one of these two assets, I want to be long Bitcoin and short Ethereum. But if I'm trading just ETH, like ETH versus the dollar, that's different. Right now, ETH versus the dollar is currently testing the weekly 200 exponentials, and the daily is also, I believe, but this looks like crap. Like this move up that you're seeing right here, in my opinion, is a shortable opportunity. As long as daily res holds, you're going to have a daily res right here. Let's just go look at the monthly real quick. Okay, so that daily res is also going to be June's open. So just go with June's open. Forget about daily res, because your June open is a much more significant level. Notice that you did, in fact, liquidate May. Sorry, you did in fact liquidate May's high, and then you fell back into the range. That is more of a bearish sentiment than bullish. So this is where you made that liquidation, and it's been a leg lower, your consolidation phase, or in this scenario, this would be considered a sell side consolidation, right? Because you were coming down when you went into the consolidation. It's not accumulation, it's distribution. When you're going down, you got 3 legs of a lower move, 1 leg of price, but 3 daily candles, lower, lower, lower. Then it goes into distribution or consolidation, and that breaks down, lower, lower, lower. So any move back up into that consolidation or distribution is going to be a potential short. You have not liquidated a key monthly swing. Your key monthly swing low is all the way down here. However, with that being said, you will have potential difficulties trading through the 0.02236, which is the midpoint of May's candle. So going back over here to the daily time frame, we can get a bias of, well, we want to be sellers, but not necessarily right here, right? We need an objective area to mitigate risk buy. We don't have it right here. The only thing that we have is yesterday's close and yesterday's high. Those are the only 2 objective levels that we can manage risk from, and those are not high time frame levels. So they can 100% offer up opportunity. Excuse me. They can offer up an opportunity, but the confluence to take the trade would not be near as strong if it was, say, a monthly level or a weekly level. So you can see you're right at the midpoint of last week's range. So that is an objective level. Let's color this red so we just know, or we'll color it white. White for week. Week starts with a W, white starts with a W. So we know this fib is for the weekly range. The blue fib is for the monthly range. It really needs to be red. Well, no, it doesn't. That was a bullish month. This is right where it needs to be. So technically speaking, I guess I could potentially look for shorts on ETH BTC if in fact it does struggle to close like 30-minute candles above yesterday's high, which is also the 50% retracement of last week's range. And last week was an expansionary week. Expansionary week meaning you did in fact break down and close below support right here. That would have been your weekly support. There's your breakdown. This is your potential weekly support retest here. So on a daily basis, for an intraday scalp or even a weekly swing trade, it being Tuesday, maybe you're setting the weekly high today. So you could either take a swing, you could either take a small position, like a 30% position size right here, right now, and mark the high of day as your stop. Or you could take a 25% position size here and then add another 25% position up there and then put your stop higher. So that way you're only losing about 1.5 to 2% of your total account's equity. That's the only way you could essentially take this trade. Because today it is bullish. That's the one thing. You don't have really strong volume today or anything like that. So maybe watch the intraday and see if you get a volume spike on a 15-minute candle or something like that and a rejection. And then you could throw on a short with a small position size. Because if you're right, and this is going to be the high of the week, then you're probably going to be positioned well for the rest of the week on the asset. That is if it goes down all week. It could go up all week. So don't try to force the entry or the position. Hopefully that helps. So Amazon looks like it's okay. It wants to be bullish. We got 6 minutes left. This is the first 15-minute candle, so we're not in a rush here. We got a nice spike of volume. Look at the volume that we're seeing on the candle. It's equally as big or as impressive as yesterday's close was at the high week close. That is no longer the high week close. It's an old level. So I would rather, let's see here. Let's put this up here. That's going to be March. This may change things. Well, not really either. Because it's a rejection is a short. It's a clear, obvious rejection there off March's open, an objective level. I don't have to guess. Let's get rid of this. Let's throw on our volume. This indicator here is cumulative volume delta. It's just basically telling you where the delta is in the footprint volume. That's what cumulative volume delta is. So this is a footprint chart. You see it. People call it like order flow market theory or something like that. It's just level 2 data in a sense is all it is. It doesn't, I mean, if you know what an iceberg order is and all that, then you can definitely make a good, do a good trade strategy out of this strategy, but you don't need the footprint because all of these numbers right here are calculated in this. So you can see, well, you won't get the delta until the candle closes, but we can drop down to a 5-minute, and I'll show you what I mean here. Okay, so you can see your delta here is bullish. That means there was that many more bids in this than asks. You have a 51.86 thousand delta. That's why your delta is bullish here and above the zero line, because the bulls were the delta. You have a delta here of 9 points, so it's still skewed to the bullishness side of the chart. So this looks good. But there's potential resistance right here. So I would almost need to see it break out above this on a strong volume candle. And then maybe watch for support to be like a buyer of a call. Like if you wanted to do a 0-day expirations entry, you would obviously be looking to buy a call. At the money, though, not way out of the money. I don't like to trade 0 days like that. If I'm going to do 0 days, I'm usually a seller of options. It's just so hard to make money. But the IV on the options on the 9-day is only 29%. I'll show you the IV on the 9-day right here. Or you can't see it. Wait, yeah, you can. It's right there. So the IV is 29%. This is good. That means you're not paying an exorbitant amount of premium for the actual option itself. Anything over 50, then you can't really be a buyer of options. Any long option strategy is probably not going to pay. So like if I thought Amazon was going to close up today, like if this major resistance level wasn't here, I would just simply buy an at the money call. Depending on how big your account is, will determine the contracts or how many contracts you buy. It's going to be $400 per contract, so you need to have at least a $40,000 account to trade this and have a 1% loss, because you're risking the entire of the premium. That has to be your risk limit. You will not lose all $400 because you're 9 days out. The only way you lose the entire $400 is if you sit in this for longer than 9 days and it's not in the money at the time of expiration. But to be a real 1% risk limit on this trade, it would be roughly about a $40,000 account. If you're just like winging it, Wall Street bet style, then you don't care, right? You're going to buy a 3-day expiration, way out of the money calls. I don't suggest you do that, but let's see here. What can we expect to see out of Amazon if we get a breakout? Well, it's not even a breakout at this point, but it is a little bit bullish here. So it looks like we have this indicator here just tells me the average true range. It looks back 14 periods and it's going to give you an average of the daily candle range. So the average of the daily candle range is $5. So a $5 move higher than where you are now would be 218. So if you went over here, you would be wanting to buy, if you're looking to go out of the money, 217.50 would be the option that you're looking to buy. Right? It's a very risky strategy. I would go ahead and expect to lose the entire $71. There's only 3 days to expiration. But a $5 move isn't that hard to see in 3 days. A $5 move is actually 100% probable. It's just you have to be right on direction here, and you're right up against the resistance level. But I'll send it. I don't care to lose money on the stream. I'm trying to teach you guys how to trade. So we'll see what we get here. I do like it as far as being bullish. It's bullish on the 21. We're above the 50, and I do like this momentum spike that we got yesterday, or that we're getting today. This looks really nice. So if we can keep this momentum in Amazon today, then there should be no reason why at the end of the day we couldn't close that trade out for a profit, right? So we'll see what happens. On the intraday chart, Amazon looks okay. We're getting that move. That's a pretty significant spike in volume. Yesterday was more volatile, right? And most assets, not Amazon, but most other assets, Amazon was very choppy. So there's a lot of shorts in this that could potentially get ran. That's what we're seeing now. Because anybody that shorted yesterday, they are what? They're stuck today. Okay? So they're hitting the exit button now, which is putting in more buying pressure. So up, it should go. And you can see how your point of control volume nodes over here are all bid. These are literally short stops being triggered. 90% of this volume right here is going to be from short stops. Okay. So we'll keep an eye on that. We're expecting a $5 move in 3 days higher. If we can get that, then we'll close that trade out profitable. Hype still is not broken down. So we could potentially get long hype looking for a breakout above yesterday's high. It's not a very big move, but this thing moves very, very quickly. Let me put you, okay, I do got you on the right monitor. Put this up so I can keep an eye on it. I'm watching gold and oil as well. I like to watch gold and oil because it tells me if there's a significant risk in the market, like war, oil tends to go up, and so does gold. The fact that gold is coming off can help the risk markets because anybody that's taking profits in gold could be rotating that capital into risk markets. Tesla had a very outsized move yesterday based on news, individual news for the individual company. Like it actually started its ride sharing program in Texas, in a city in Texas. So yeah, it was up almost 10% at one point yesterday. But we're still seeing Apple struggle here. And I don't want to see Apple struggle and Microsoft struggle if I want the tech sector to remain bullish. And I do want the tech sector to remain bullish because I absolutely, took a position in Amazon. So that's what we're kind of looking at, or watching, if you will. What's happening, everybody? Greetings to the best teacher, my boss. What's up, VT Billions? How you doing? Let me put you back on the hype monitor. Oh, you're there. Sweet. All right, and Fartcoin is something that I obviously want to short, but don't want to short it until we're liquidating today's high. We've already liquidated yesterday's high. Over here on the 8-hour, we can see that we did in fact close above the 21. I usually only care about daily 21 EMAs. But for this specific case, I'm going to go ahead and look at this because I have noticed that there is a lot of times where you break out like this. And then if you retreat back under it or whatever, it can tell you in a sense, on this period here, you did get a nice push lower, but it rejected and ended up closing back up. So at this point, I would have been watching support. And as long as I'm not closing 8 hours under that support, then I can get long at that price point. Right? Because notice how price stays real close to this 21 right through here. Now, it did have the aid of the 200 in this scenario. And the 200 is actually going to act as potential resistance. But if Bitcoin's going to remain bullish, if dominance is going to continue to go down, then we can expect some of these to actually be bullish. So dominance has actually been going down. We'll see, right? We'll see what happens. And then there's this thing. It looks similar. I don't think it has the benefit of having enough candlesticks to actually generate a 200. It doesn't. So we don't have any 200s on this chart. It just doesn't have enough data. But what I can tell you right now from what I'm seeing, just from what I'm seeing intraday here, it's not doing anything for either the bullish or bearish side yet. You're still just trading inside this range. It's going to be an hourly range. No, we've already taken out the last hourly low and the last hourly high. Okay, so we are 7 minutes of potentially closing an hour bearish engulfing here. 4 hour is right at support. Okay, so we got 2 hours left on the close of this 2 hour candle. 4 hour candle. Let's see what we get as far as closure on this hourly. Like a bearish closure, we could then potentially look for shorts at supply. This right here would be considered supply. It's bullish on, this is still a bullishly structured chart. You close the daily above the 21. I don't love the short. I would rather be long, but we'll see. We'll see what we get here. S&P 500 is still testing the intraday VWAP. Now, your volume cumulative delta is showing you that there's more bearish pressure in today's price action than bullish. But we have to be very careful about stuff like this because yesterday it did the same thing. It gave us that bearish signal that we wanted to see here on cumulative delta, and then it reversed. So at this point right here, you should have been no longer in the short because volume by time and cumulative delta is telling you that it's more bullish than bearish. So you don't have to fight with the short side of the market once that happens. Basically what we want to do, because we're trend traders, we want to catch the trend. The trend on the daily time frame is up. The trend on the monthly time frame is up. So we like it higher, but is it going to go up today or tomorrow? Yesterday was such a big move, it could just be a sideways inside day all day today. And then tomorrow gives us the bullish opportunity. Maybe we'll do a live stream tomorrow as well. We're not dropping frames. Everything is running smooth. WLD/USDT. So this is structured bearish on the daily time frame. Had a good day yesterday. 8 hour looks pretty good. You got resistance up there at 1.08. Volume was pretty big, but nothing like what we've seen over here on the big move higher. Like this. On this day, that would have been a good volume spike to look for bullish opportunities. This volume spike isn't even as big as this. It's about the same. This isn't really telling me that it's super bullish based on volume alone. Based on the cumulative delta, it does say that it is slightly more bullish than bearish. But how many times have we seen cryptos be bullish and then flip to bearish? All right? So many. So many. Like, look at this one. Nice, big, strong close. And then, but see here, the delta actually kept you out of trouble because in that scenario, the delta was bearish. Right? Cumulative volume delta CVD, cumulative volume delta. It's just a way to get a little bit more data. I know people love indicators. Apple's really coming off hard. This might not be good for my Amazon trade. Apple's coming off really hard here. We're testing the June open, though. But it's bearish for now. Yeah, big volume spike on the downside move. But in line for a buy still. So I could still buy this as long as it starts to show me support in and around 198. I don't want to see like a big drop under that, with Delta also showing the bearish, the sell side. This right here could cause the S&P to stumble. It's not right yet. The S&P is still testing intraday VWAP. You can see that right here. Still testing intraday VWAP. But Apple coming off hard. Tesla retesting some of that gains that it got yesterday. Microsoft also testing lows of day. But NVIDIA, super nice. A nice erect looking candle there. Let's get rid of oil. We don't give a shit. I would rather check out NVIDIA's daily time frame. So highs are up there. So we're not near a breakout as far as all-time highs are concerned. But as far as all of this consolidation is concerned, you are breaking out. You're coming into the top edge of the volatility bands on the monthly VWAP. So it's getting a bit extended. I'm not looking for fresh longs on NVIDIA, but if it can stay long or stay strong like this today, then maybe the sympathy from this trade goes into Microsoft and Apple. And then ultimately today we get a support hold and a start to fade back up into the range. But if we continuously make lower lows and lower closes on the daily range, then Apple could weigh down the SPOOs. Right? It could weigh down the SPOOs. Here, let's do this. Oh, I got Apple over here. Perfect. Let's put it on this one, though. We'll put Microsoft over here. We'll put NVIDIA here. So that way we can just pop in and out on this monitor. All right, Microsoft looks really good. Apple is still a buyable opportunity here. This isn't too bad yet. Give it some time. Give it some time. Be patient. Be a sniper. You don't have to rush into this stuff. There are opportunities every single day in this market. You do not have to rush. Do not have to rush. Opportunities are abound. I think that's probably one of the biggest killers of retail. They see this and they think they're missing it, so they pile into the shorts, and then the market reverses in their face. We see the first moves sometimes are not the right move. It's not always like that, but first move was a big, strong move here and then faded the rest of the day, but ultimately it found support. I can't wait for them to make stocks 24/5 like futures, because it's so unfair that you get huge moves pre and post market sometimes. And some retail brokers do not allow you to trade pre and post market. If it's options. We'll see what happens there. But I know I can trade futures options pre and post market, so I don't see why I couldn't trade stock options pre and post market. All right, let's go back over here to Mr. Fart, Mr. Hype. Fartcoin looks okay, and volume is kind of confirming it. I don't really want to get long Fartcoin because I think it's absolute garbage. I would rather get short. That this one is actually showing me a short signal here. There's a big spike in short volume there. So a rejection at the daily high or a rejection here at the VWAP. This is the monthly VWAP for anybody that's new tuning in that we're watching for a potential rejection. It's not that we're bearish on cryptos. It's just this particular asset is flashing an intraday bearish signal. And we've already took a long on Amazon. It's not really playing out. We kind of need Apple to fall in line and Microsoft to fall in line. If they fall in line, then that trade might work out. I'm prepared to lose the entirety of the premium that I paid, which was $72. So if it goes to zero, it goes to zero. But we'll see. Because the S&P and the NASDAQ are both really close to breaking out to all-time highs. Link to Jay Powell testimony. Do we want to hear it? All right, I'll put it up. Bitcoin struggling a little bit, but still not getting anything going. So clearly the market is waiting for Tom's meeting.
Stand by to launch.
Volume is up all the way. Apologies if it's quiet.
Committee on Financial Services will come to order. Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare a recess at any time. This hearing is entitled the Federal Reserve Semi-Annual Monetary Policy Report. Without objection, all members will have 5 legislative days within which to submit extraneous material to the chair for inclusion in the record. I now recognize myself for 4 minutes for an opening statement. Good morning. I want to thank Chair Powell for joining us today. We appreciate your time and look forward to hearing more about the Federal Reserve's outlook on economic and monetary policy. There's been a lot of rhetoric lately, particularly from our friends across the aisle, suggesting that Republicans in the Congress are steering our economy toward a recession. However, the facts tell a different story.
As long as
4
we're
months
above
into the
this,
Trump
I still like
administration,
it
American
higher.
workers and taxpayers are already benefiting from a strong, resilient economy.
Big support
Fed
here on
noted
Apple.
that growth is solid, and even former Fed officials have dismissed the idea of a recession this year or is near. Compare that to the previous administration. Under President Biden, Americans endured the highest inflation rates in decades, driven by reckless spending and misguided policy decisions. Now, under the Trump administration, inflation has declined to levels lower than those seen before President Biden's flawed so-called American Rescue Plan, and real wages are finally meaningfully growing again. There's always some economic uncertainty when the United States engages in difficult negotiations necessary to secure more open markets for American goods and services. But that uncertainty is not without a strategy of balanced, lower regulatory costs, pro-growth tax policy, and controls on federal spending, all combined with trade
That's your
successes
CPI.
offer economic opportunity. One
There's
Fed
your
official,
PCE.
Governor Waller, has outlined how a balanced approach,
Inflation is lower. He is
combining
not
potential
lying.
tax rates with targeted tariffs, could foster strong economic growth. Let
They're
me be
expecting
clear
it
on
to
that.
go up, though.
We can fight to open markets, break down non-tariff barriers while achieving solid economic growth at the same time. That's President Trump's goal, just as it was for President Reagan in the 1980s. I also
Cumulative
want to
volume
commend you,
delta is
Mr.
bullish
Chairman,
on
of the
Bitcoin.
Federal Reserve, for taking positive steps to keep politics out of the Fed. including disbanding 4 internal climate-related committees and making the Fed leaner and more efficient by right-sizing your workforce across the system. These moves reflect a commitment to efficiency at the Federal Reserve. I'm also pleased that Governor Mickey Bowman has been confirmed as Vice Chair for Supervision at the board. Governor Bowman has been a tireless advocate for community banks, and this committee is eager to work with her on policies that enhance our bank's ability to provide greater access to capital
like failure
and services
to me.
for our families and businesses across our nation. I look forward to today's hearing, and I yield back the balance of my time. I'll now recognize Mr. Foster on behalf of the ranking member for 4 minutes for an opening statement.
Thank you, and I will save everyone a little bit of time. Ranking Member Waters was unavoidably detained. I'll just say a little bit that the markets have kind of spoken on their confidence in the Trump economy. Probably the single simplest metric of that is that the U.S. dollar is down roughly 10%.
Yeah,
this is
Jerome
not a small
speaking
thing,
yet.
and it has caused countries
I don't
around
know
the
how
world
long these
to
guys are
question
gonna talk,
the
but-
primacy of the U.S. dollar going forward. This is one of the worst market responses, I think, to the chaos that we're seeing, the tariffs that are very
would hate to pause it
destructive to
because I'll miss
international
it.
trade,
I know I will.
and just everything that the markets are seeing and trying to suffer through. I know I'm contacted all the time by businesses in my district, manufacturing businesses that can't even start thinking about investing with the level of chaos just from the tariff
We
policy
got some
alone.
consumer
Anyway, there's a
confidence
long
news
set of things we should be talking
that
about.
came out
I'm
at
happy to
10
save
as
some
well.
People some time, and let's get to it. Yield back.
Gentleman yields back. I recognize the Chairman of the Task Force on Monetary Policy, Treasury Market Resilience, and Economic Prosperity, Mr. Lucas, for 1 minute for an opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today's hearing will allow us to evaluate the state of the economy and review the FOMC's policy decisions.
All right.
It's appropriate to regularly take a step back and assess
You
the
guys
central
tell me in the
bank's
chat
performance
when
and
Powell
its
starts speaking, and I'll fast forward it. I just don't want to listen to that garbage. That stuff to me really doesn't mean anything because I already know what I'm looking to do. It doesn't matter what they say, right? I'm looking for hype to roll over. I want Amazon to go up. My bias is already set, so there's nothing more that I can physically do. Either it's going to work or it's not. That's trading. That's it. That's what we do. I am a risk manager. I am not a fortune teller. That is the secret. That is how you become successful in this game. Once you understand that you are, in fact, a money manager and not a fortune teller, you can start to actually do better. Everybody's still stuck on telling fortunes. We can analyze technically what looks good and what doesn't look good, but it doesn't mean that it's any of that's going to work. TMC, let's see what this thing's doing. This is one that we've been watching for a long time now. It's actually pulled back a little bit the last 3 days, but we did ultimately get the breakout above the initial resistance that we identified for everybody right there. I specifically said I would not be a buyer over 490, as that is your Q4 2021's open. It could be significant resistance. It ended up holding. Then we based up down here at support at 398 and up it went. So this was a good breakout here. So this is the metals company. They're waiting for a piece of paper to tell them that they can mine all the little magic rocks on the bottom of the ocean that have a lot of rare earth minerals in them. It is a Canadian company, but it is on the NYSE or the NASDAQ, apologies. It is a U.S. traded company. So this one is one that we're kind of just holding for a little bit of a long term until the mining is underway. And once that happens, this thing should explode, especially once they start actually producing returns from the stuff that they're mining. We're also watching a couple of these small drone companies here. Archer actually has defense contracts, so we like them a little bit higher. We like this Joby a little bit higher. And then Dragonfly. It is a penny stock. It's trading under $5. So be careful when owning penny stocks, because a lot of your investment firms and things like that are not allowed to own these things because there's a rule, right? $5 is the cutoff point. But it does trade like a penny stock also sometimes. Be very careful if you buy these shares. Make sure you're only buying with the amount of money that you can afford to lose. If the drone companies continue to do good, these should go up over time. As what we've seen over in Israel and Iran and what's going on with Russia and all Ukraine, they're like burning the drones up. They like the drones. So we'll see if those things can get anything going. Has he began to speak yet? No.
Deficit to cut in recent months,
Oh,
and
yes.
elevated uncertainty about the economic outlook, largely reflecting trade policy concerns. It remains to be seen how these developments might affect future spending and investment. In the labor market, conditions have remained solid. Payroll job gains
Yeah, they're
averaged a
steady.
moderate 224,000 per month in the first 5 months of the year.
Here's
The unemployment
unemployment.
rate at 4.2% in May remains low and has stayed in a narrow range for the past year.
Basically
Wage growth has
topped out
continued
here
to
at
moderate, while
4.2.
still outpacing
That's good.
inflation. Overall, a wide
Inflation
set of
is
indicators
good.
suggests that
2.4,
conditions in the labor
good.
market are broadly in balance
PCE
and
is
consistent
lower.
with maximum employment.
Good.
The labor market is not a source
now.
of significant inflationary pressures. The strong labor market conditions in recent years have helped narrow longstanding disparities in employment and earnings across demographic groups. Inflation has eased significantly from its highs in
Bitcoin
mid-2022,
finding a little bit of
but
support at
remains
the
somewhat
intraday point of
elevated relative
control.
to our 2% longer run goal. Estimates based on
Hype,
consumer price index
trading
and other
up
data
into the
indicate that
hourly
total
supply zone.
personal
It's not going to
consumption
be a very
expenditures,
effective
or
supply
PCE
zone,
prices rose
as it's so
2.3%
close to the
over
midpoint
12
of the
months
daily
ending May,
range.
and that, excluding the
Monthly
volatile food and
VWAP
energy
is right
categories,
there.
core PCE prices rose 2.6%. Near-term measures of inflation expectations have moved up over recent months, as reflected in both market and survey-based measures. Respondents to surveys of consumers, businesses,
It looks
and
like the
professional
price to beat
forecasters
right now is
point to tariffs as the driving
37.33.
factor. Beyond the next year or so, however, most measures of longer-term expectations
Clearly a
remain
bunch of
consistent
wicks
with
up
our
in
2%
there.
inflation goal.
So if it gets moving, then we want to
Monetary
give
policy
it
actions
space to
are
let it
guided
run the
by a
highs of
dual
day.
mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people.
This is your daily
The
high
labor
all the way
market
over
at or
here.
near maximum employment and inflation remaining somewhat
38.
elevated. The Federal Open Market Committee has maintained
But if it
the target
rejects
range
up
for the
in
federal
here,
funds
then
rate at
we can
4.25
still
to
look for
4.5%
shorts.
since the
We have a
beginning of the
bearish
year.
bias because cumulative
We've
volume
also
delta
continued
is
to
showing
reduce our
us
holdings of Treasury and
that it's
agency
weaker.
mortgage-backed securities.
The volume
And
is
beginning in April,
more
further
skewed
slowed
to
the
the
pace of
bearish
its decline to
side.
facilitate a smooth transition
Your
to
zero
ample
line is all the
reserve
way up
balances.
there.
We will continue to determine the appropriate stance of monetary policy based
But
on
it's the
economic
opposite
data,
on
the evolving
Bitcoin.
outlook,
You're
and the balance
bullish.
of risks. Policy changes continue to evolve, and their
So
effects on
we
the
got to be
economy
careful
remain
with that
uncertain.
spike.
The effects of tariffs will
Also,
depend, among other things, on their ultimate level.
On a 4-hour time
Expectations of that
frame, this
level,
looks
and thus of
super
the related
bullish.
Economic effects
This looks
reached
like a bull
peak in
flag
April
here.
and have since declined. Even so, increases in tariffs this year are likely to push up prices.
There's your
prices
flagpole.
and weigh on economic activity.
There's your flag.
The effects on inflation could be short-lived, reflecting a one-time shift in
Sorry.
the price level. It's also possible that the inflationary effects could instead be more persistent. Avoiding that would depend on the size of the
8-hour
tariff
looks
effects,
good,
on how long it
so
takes for them to
doesn't
pass their
look
fully
good
into
for the
prices,
short.
and ultimately on keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored. Our obligation is to keep longer-term inflation expectations well anchored and to
Yeah,
prevent a
even the
one-time
moving
increase
average
in the price
structure
level
on the
from
intraday
becoming
time
an
frame
ongoing
looks bad
inflation
for a
problem.
short. The only
As we
thing that
act to
looks
meet
good
that
for the short
obligation,
is
we will
volume,
balance our
cumulative
maximum
volume
employment
delta.
and price stability mandates, keeping in mind that without price stability, we cannot achieve the long periods of strong labor market conditions that benefit all Americans. For the time being, we are well positioned to wait to learn more
Everything's
about the
going to be
likely course of the
structured bullish
economy before
today
considering any adjustments to our policies.
with moving averages.
To conclude, we understand that our actions affect communities, families, and businesses across the country. Everything we do is in service to our public mission. We at the Fed will do everything we can to achieve our
So
maximum.
I mean, I have no problem with you
stability
if
goals.
you want to take
Look
the
forward to your
long
questions.
either. I'm not going
Thank you,
to
Mr.
take the
Chairman. We'll
long.
now
I'm
turn to
going to
member
wait
questions.
for
I
a
recognize myself
rejection.
for 5 minutes for questions. Over the past few weeks, our Democratic colleagues have suggested the following. After the initial release of the GDP report, the president is driving the economy into a recession. Chairman Powell, the latest FOMC statement described
Disney looks
economic
okay.
activity have to continue to expand at a solid
So
pace, and you
support
just
is
reiterated that
holding
in your
on Disney.
testimony this morning. In your view, is the term recession and the economy growing at a solid pace, are those synonymous with each other?
Disney has an average true range of
You
$2.21.
note that the labor market continues strong, the economy's at a standard pace, and you also referenced in your testimony that first quarter GDP initial react was also from front-end loading, as you noted, imports to try to
119 would
avoid
be
tariff
about
impacts. Also, I looked
into-
at the
like
Atlanta
into
Fed
weak
GDP
target.
Now model.
If I got a
which
call, it would
forecasts
be a
GDP growth for the
119
second
straight
quarter of this
call.
year at nearly 4%, with core GDP forecast at 2%.
At
Does
least
that
3 days
Atlanta model
away. You got
suggest
a
recession
dividend
to you?
coming up on Disney, though. I would
no, I would
leave
say it
Disney
doesn't.
alone today.
So, in looking at your remarks,
I didn't see that
about
dividend
tariffs
risk.
today, and
Sorry.
then the ones
Disney's
that you
not
made,
a trade
during,
for me.
March and April, I was looking back at a Fed study that noted that up until March, tariffs have already been partially passed
The one
through in
trade that I
consumer
like
prices, leading to a
isn't working
contribution of
yet.
barely 1/10 percentage point increase in core PCE prices. And a Harvard
Apple's still
study
not
last week
finding
showed that
support yet,
prices
but
have
it
only
looks like it is
modestly
trying to
adjusted
come
since
in
the
here.
announcement of tariffs. Finally, the longer-term
So
inflation
this-
expectations
let me
remain
shut you
consistent
up.
with.
So this is kind of good. It's good either way, actually, because if it breaks down, then we'll know not to buy it, right? We'll know not to be bullish Apple any longer. If it breaks down, cuts away, and starts to take out its 200 exponential and 200 simple EMAs. They're 200, 200. So your lower, lighter color one down here is going to be your simple. So in a sense, I want to see 15-minute closing candles stay above the 200s. I don't even care if we get a close under. I just don't want a significant move lower. If you get a significant move lower, like say you get up into here and then you drop and your candle looks like this, then I would expect another candle to look like that and then one more like that. So I wouldn't even be trying to pick this up today if you get that. But if support holds here, then it could potentially start to fade back up into the range, which is what it looks like ultimately on the daily time frame. The daily yesterday closed above the 21 exponential, and yesterday had a retest of the 21 exponential, and that held as support. That level we are watching is your June open, so it is an objective higher time frame level. So if people want to buy Apple because it's up on the month, then maybe they like the prices at June, but you're still bearish on the year, which could also be a reason to be a buyer of Apple. Now, Apple has, this is just the technical reasons. I'm not giving you fundamental reasons of why you should be a buyer on Apple. I don't care if you trade Apple or not. You know what I mean? I'm just letting you know what I'm seeing. Apple looks good for another move higher. I was looking for it to liquidate this double bottom down here, and it looked like it was going to do that. It did not. So this can be construed as bullish as well, because it is a higher low. Each one of these lows have been higher. So now it just needs to make a higher high in this sequence for bulls to potentially get involved with this. Now here's something that may keep them from getting involved. The 50% retracement of May. Show me your wick. Show me your wick. Sorry. That's right there. That's the wick high. So your 50% retracement of the downside breakdown candle in May is right above us. So this could be a fake out move here, a bull trap, if you will. It's not looking like it yet. So when will I be convinced that this move up is a bull trap? Once we take out this candle's low. Then I would pretty much say that a 193 target would be almost a guaranteed thing. We'll keep our eyes on that. Bitcoin green on the day, red on the day, green on the day. Not really getting anything from these meetings. So I guess Powell's done. They're just going to ask him questions. All right. I can't read your name. It's all symbols, unfortunately. Madge says, I can only pop in. It's midnight, and I saw you went live. We'll catch the replay. Thanks, Marge. Appreciate it. SEIUSD. Hopefully I catch you before you leave. SEIUSDT. I don't know what this is. Clearly, it looks really bullish on the small time frame chart. Daily looks really good. You're coming into a significant point of potential resistance here. You're bearish on the year. I don't love that. Month looks great. Okay, so here's the thing. If you reject, give me 1 second. If you reject last month's high, boom. It's also a double top. Boom. So it's actually March's high. Let's see. We got any white space? Nope. All right. So we can just click and hold. So the high on this candle is 27.45. The high on this candle, 27.50. So this candle is done. This is the resistance point as it is higher. And that is May's high. I don't know if you knew about that yet, but TradingView did implement a new tool. If you left click and hold, it gives you the open high low of the candle that you're hovering over. Open high low close, percent change, volume. And if you have any EMAs, it'll tell you what price that is. It's a phenomenal little thing that they added. I love it. All right, but anyways, on a daily time frame, this is where I'd be taking profits. Of course, I would have done that once we come into May's high. If I would have been wanting to buy this, I would have already had the analysts already done. But you're just asking me about it. I don't know what this is. I don't really care what it is. It looks good, but here is the point where it needs to hold. So you kind of need to see demand come in here, and we are getting a spike of volume above it. That doesn't always ring good for the asset. All right. So it does look like there's a lot of people that are very interested in taking trades here because of May's high. Now we just have to wait and see, does the sellers win out the day or do the buyers? It looks to me like right now the sellers are winning. Let's go get our cumulative volume delta and it'll tell us who's winning. The bulls are winning today. For now. Is that divergent? It is divergent. The cumulative volume delta was stronger here, but they could not hold it close. So it's the cumulative volume delta says that it's more bullish than bearish. But I mean, here's the thing. You already got a nice move today up. It's still early enough in the session where I could potentially see support holding, but you would just need to watch it on an intraday time frame to see if that support does hold, or just take a look at it again at the close of the day and see what happened. If you fail up here today and close under, that's going to look more bearish on the near term, like say for tomorrow and the next day. It'll look like the sellers ultimately did win, and people will look to short this level again tomorrow if the sellers do win today. But Bitcoin is moving up, or hype is moving up. So Bitcoin is also starting to move up a little bit. So maybe it finds support. But this isn't a very big move here. So it looks like what we're seeing is, I guess, I don't know if it's because we just got the ceasefire today, and with the fact that Powell was speaking, we have no other high event news risk on the day. That's literally it. Tomorrow is today is Wednesday. No, it's Tuesday. So we don't even have any news tomorrow. We don't have any significant news until Thursday. So today, in my opinion, if it's going to be bullish or have bullish continuation from yesterday's explosive move higher, then I would definitely want to see support come into play on this asset at some point today. As we are seeing support on the other markets. Over here. That intraday VWAP is currently still holding on the SPOOs and NASDAQ. So let's see if NVIDIA can hold the strength. Microsoft looks to be reclaiming some of that downside move, and Apple's still struggling at intraday VWAP here. I would like all three of the tech companies to be strong. I think that would help Bitcoin and help some of the alts. But dominance has been weak, so that's the reason we're seeing alts do good. Dominance is weak. This is why I like alts. So SEI, Marge, hopefully can find support at some time today. Will it be, will it make a fresh daily low? I hope not, because that's way down here. So to be honest with you, just looking at price and potential liquidation zones, it just really needs to give you a test of 27.38 and a rejection down there for support if it is going to stay up today. One more question. Bitcoin dominance, if you please. Yeah, we just looked at it. It's been bearish. Let's go back and look at it on the daily. It's been bearish for a couple days here. So we did get a nice fresh breakout above this swing high, and then it ultimately rolled over. So this is why we've seen alts pumping yesterday, or at least some of them. Like Ethereum did good yesterday. Bohm did good yesterday. Hype did good yesterday. Fartcoin did good yesterday. Solana did good yesterday. Solana is not as bullish as other things. Looks good on the 8-hour, but still, it's actually trading above resistance. Solana might be a good thing to watch also for a potential short if it fails at the monthly VWAP. What is that? Okay, so it's not the same chart. Let's check MEXC. Well, here, let me just go back over here and see exactly which one it is. MEXC, Sol USDT on MEXC. There we go. All right. So add SOL USDT. All right. Perfect. So we got a May open up there. We got June's VWAP, but you're bullish on the month of June. That coffee's making me burp. You got that. it actually looks bullish here on the 8-hour daily, not so much. I mean, that's a good looking bullish candle there, but you did not close above resistance. This would be your last point of resistance at May's open. And your volume cumulative delta is showing us that it's actually weaker than it is strong. So I would be looking for this to potentially run stops above the highs. But here's the thing. It's so close to being flipped bullish that I don't know that I would want to take that short. Okay, we got the move up on hype. It still looks good for the short. Let's see if we get a rejection here. Doesn't look good for a rejection. You've had 2 5-minute candle closures that made higher highs and higher closes. This is looking a little better, but we'll see here. We're going to watch the midpoint of this 5-minute candle depending on where it closes. So this rejection here, I want to see hold. This 5-minute close has to stay the highest one. So the absolute perfect entry would be this candle that we're currently trading on's open with a very tight stop. Small position size. Remember, we're trading a little bit differently now. Instead of going in full size, we want to go in small increments. This way, if we're wrong and we start to see higher closes, we're not taking a full 1% loss. We want to manage that risk as best we can. We're actually looking, if we're looking for the short, we're taking that completely against the market, because the market is overall bullish. Even though Bitcoin is kind of not doing anything, it is still more bullish than bearish. So if it takes off to the upside, the alts are probably going to follow it. Fake out? Could be. We'll see. We will see. Water's good stuff. ADD, advanced decline line, is up to 1340. That's super bullish. 1340 on the ADD. So shorts aren't really the trade to make today. I mean, yesterday was super bullish. You know what I mean? You shouldn't have a very bearish bias coming in today unless you think yesterday's move was just another bull trap. It gets a little bit less so the more often it happens. I mean, it happened here, and then it happened again here. So what are the odds that it's doing it again? It becomes a little less so, because the more attempts that you have to break out of on a resistance level, because that would be the resistance level, correct? It's weekly resistance. It's your highest weekly close since you broke down. So if this is going to be resistance, and this is going to be a trap, then we need to see them sellers kick in. But the more attempts you have to break resistance, the more chances are that you're probably going to break it. Typically, if a resistance level is going to hold, I want to see it hold quick, like it did here. The fact that we traded much lower and are right back here so fast, the buy side is clearly in control of near-term order flow. And even though Our cumulative volume delta is telling us that this could be a shortable play. We're now starting to see higher closes here. That's not a good look. Doesn't fit the narrative for a short. And remember, that's us making the narrative. That ain't a narrative that we're getting. We're not getting a narrative, that short side narrative from a technical basis. You are above the daily 21 exponential. You are, as of right now, currently trading above June's VWAP. You are bullish on the month. So the overall narrative is bullish here, not bearish. The best short or the best long side trade to take on this would have been be a buyer at 4-hour support, right? That's what I try to teach the people in the Discord, all my members. I try to teach them how to be a buyer at support. So you just got to get your narrative going, and then you can be a buyer at support. In this scenario, the 4-hour support was higher, because 8 o'clock is the close. The 4-hour support is up here at 36,961. This is your 4-hour support price. This would have been where you would have wanted to see rejection. Not getting it. Yeah. What's Amazon doing? It's holding near-term support for us for now. That's only because Apple has not broken down yet. Have a good day yourself. Jerome and his shit show. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we knew he wasn't going to say anything much different than what he said last week. So Ethereum is right now trying to make a fresh high hour close. It held support beautifully. Bitcoin held support beautifully. Bitcoin gave you almost a flawless intraday buy on support. Boom, not so much. It broke down. And Hype also gave you the breakdown. Very, very small breakdown. But it reclaimed the level the very next hour because it closed right back above it. That's typically not what you want to see for downside continuation. You can just simply look at your hourly time frames in similar scenarios. So for instance, this scenario right here, very similar, right? You get a big bullish volume, big spike up in price, and then you're trading inside like it's, right? There's a breakdown below support and a bearish engulf. So at this point, you would be a little bit more keen to look for the short side entry at resistance. And then boom. It's not what we're seeing here. Right? Support actually did hold. You can go deeper and say this would be the support. That's your lowest close in the consolidation. That level held. You did not close under it. So you just have to be a buyer when price is trading here. And I know it's not easy to do, but that is how you got to do it if you have a bullish bias. So looking at that on a 5-minute time frame would be a difficult trade to make, wouldn't it? we know this is the support right here. So you just play it out. You can see that you're getting downside continuation, lower closes, lower lows, lower closes. Boom, right there. So that, did you get a volume spike? Not really. You did on cumulative volume delta, but did you get a volume by time spike? Yes, you did. Okay, so that's legit. That's legit. So then at that point, you look to buy 36,678. Your stop goes under the low of day or lower. And then this is a kind of a confirmation of sorts. You know, that's your hourly support. And the fact that you could not even close one more 5-minute candle under it is a very good signal. And you're coming off here, right? Because you did initially get the impulse wave higher, then your corrective 3 5-minute candles on declining volume. It's not like going down, but it's not big volume like this. So like if you're coming into this level on a volume spike, the volume is higher than this volume, then you have to be a little bit concerned if that level is going to hold or not. The fact that volume was not spiking, it's not always going to be the best identifier, but I'm just saying you had multiple opportunities to get long. My bias was bearish based on the cumulative volume delta. And it was clearly the wrong bias as of right now. It still might be the right bias later today. We'll see. Do you see how you got a volume spike here? And this is higher than support. Remember, this bottom line is the hourly support level. So you're seeing an increase in volume at support on the moves lower. You're not seeing an increase in volume as the move is going lower. The volume did bump up here. On this candle, you did get a higher increase in volume, but the very next candle, boom, up. So that's kind of good. Same thing with this candle. This would be a fake you out kind of scary candle looking thing. But the volume wasn't significant. It wasn't a spike like this. It's lower. So it's going up there. It's taking out yesterday's high. And we'll see if it does reject up there. It doesn't look like it's going to at this point. It could, very much so. Bitcoin could absolutely reject up here. Let's see. Do we get a significant increase in volume and a dump-ola candle? If we get something like that, then we can, in fact, take the short. As we're still not seeing, I mean, let's be clear here. The short side of the market is not the right side of the market. Your advanced decline line is super bullish. If I take you up here to another monitor and show you the VIX, your VIX is broken back under 1930, which is a resistance level that we were watching. So this supports a bullish market, not a bearish one. The advanced decline line as well as your VIX. But we know that Bitcoin doesn't always trade with the risk markets. But like I said, you've got Apple and Nvidia both doing, not Apple, sorry. You've got Microsoft and Nvidia both kind of doing their own thing here, while Apple is trading at June's open at this point, which could be support. So if Apple does hold the June's open for the rest of the day and starts to trade higher, then you're going to see 3 out of 3 tech companies holding as support And tech is huge for risk markets. You got your intraday VWAP still holding. You're trading well above your monthly VWAP on a daily time frame here and here. So the market's not really screaming, hey, this is going to reject. It actually says we could see upside continuation here. The only reason if I'm going to short something, it's going to be this. Now, this is a good looking candle here, but we're not seeing a volume spike. And we did liquidate the daily high. Let's see. Let's be sure about that. High of day, 38,298. High of day, 38,314. So that is a liquidation of today's high. Yesterday's high is right here. 38,485. So this to me doesn't smell good as far as looking for a short rejection here. If I see an increase in volume, boom, then maybe, but I'm not seeing that yet. If it's a short, I would short it. I mean, I will tell you if I short it. Fartcoin also getting a move up. Risk markets look good. DXY is at weekly lows. Where is the Dixie? Here we go. We're trading at previous week lows. It's Tuesday and we're seeing downside expansion. But we could see continuation lower if this breaks down, which would also be a little more bullish on anything trading against the dollar. Disney looking okay. What did I just do? Looks like we should have bought Disney instead of Amazon. Amazon's still looking okay. Point of control is coming in here. Remember, this is a significant area of resistance. So we did have that. Whereas on Disney, I don't think we did. We do have a significant area of resistance, but it's way up there. Disney would have probably, looking at it in hindsight, clearly this would have been a better trade to take. At the time, there was something I didn't like about it. But I love the fact that pre-market it was testing this stuff over here. That's why I liked Amazon. Because if it's going, this was a nice little stall out. And then yesterday, everything was super bullish, but this didn't do anything. And in pre-market, we did get that breakout to the upside here. So anybody that got short yesterday in Amazon were stuck. We were hoping that would provide us enough buy-side liquidity to propel this thing higher. And it still might, right? I bought a 3-day expiry call option at the 217 strike on Amazon. It was out of the money when I bought it. And it's still out of the money. So it's lost about 20 cents. I think I paid $72.50 for it. So that's that. We need it to kind of start to rotate back up. Otherwise, this will look like a rejection because the last 3 days were bearish coming into today. Yesterday, not so much, but the 2 days prior to yesterday definitely were. Thursday was closed because of Juneteenth, so Wednesday, Friday, yesterday, today. So I'm willing to hold it up. If we start to see an expansion under 211 and it starts to take off, then maybe I'll close it for a smaller loss instead of eating the full $72, or I could just hold it and eat the whole $72 just in case it gets bullish tomorrow or the next day. Amazon has been lagging other tech stocks here. I guess you could call that a bull flag if you wanted to. Right? I mean, I don't love it. It's more or less trading in a channel here. So maybe wait for the breakout, look for a retest, and then higher if you're not already in it. But yesterday was like kind of the reason why I liked it so much. An increase in volume trading into the 21 exponential, and then you got a trap on Monday, and then boom, we set the trap today. So maybe it fills the gap and then runs. Who knows? Maybe it runs later. All things I cannot see. Thank you, KF, for thinking I'm amazing. I appreciate you. If you had a $1,000 to invest now, what would be your move? $1,000 to invest right now. What would be my move? Well, that's a little bit, I don't know. Well, I invested $72 in Amazon today. That would have been my move. Let me see if I can find something else. Let's go look. Let's see what we can find. Maybe we can find something to invest in, as we're just kind of waiting now to see if, hang on, I got to put this meme coin up on another monitor so I can watch it. Okay, so let me go to that real quick, and I promise, Cabby81, I will answer your question. We will scroll through all this stuff. I want to check the volume spike here, or see if we're getting one. It's okay. I don't love it. It's this level. This is yesterday's high. If we had already liquidated yesterday's high, I would go ahead and jump in this, stop above the high of day. But since we haven't, and these two bearish candles are on declining volume, don't love it. And we still are seeing cumulative volume delta in the buy side. It's now lost its bearish, making lower lows and lower highs, right? Lower lows, lower highs, lower low, lower high. Now we're making higher lows and higher highs. Now we're making higher highs and higher closes. So we have to be careful shorting into this because the delta is skewed back to the bid. So we're going to need to see a spike in volume. I want to see it happen up here, not here. We get up in here and then we stop, collaborate, and listen, and we get a volume spike, then I'll short it. But we're still going completely against the trend. All right, let me go back over there. All right, that is situated. Okay. So we're going to look for something to invest $1,000 in. Avgo looks like it's trying to break out. Broadcom. It's $261 stock. All right, so what I see on this looks very good. Oh yeah, it's hitting the overbought. So people are going to see this as bearish divergence as you're making higher highs, but you're lower on the oscillator. I only like divergence on the weekly. It's just a thing. The weekly looks good. So what I'm trying to say is bullish momentum looks okay here. I would rather it break out of the flag pattern and get a spike in volume to the breakout. If you get that, then you could watch the next day for a potential entry here. Make sure you set a stop on how much you want to lose of that $1,000. I wouldn't buy it with any leverage at all. I would just buy like 4 shares, 3 shares. But make sure you have a hard stop at least $100. Like if you lose $100, just get out of it. Right? So this would be something that I would put on watch just because it's threatening a breakout here. Now, if it fails to break out, you don't buy it because it's failing the breakout. You need to see the breakout and you want to see it confirmed with volume. Because if you see that pattern, then you've broken out of a consolidation formation on higher volume. So let's see if we can find that pattern again in the past. Let's see, what do we get here? So we did get a breakout here, but it's not a significant breakout, right? It's just barely broken out. I want the candle that breaks out to put that old all-time high in the midpoint of the candle. So this would have been a good breakout for me, right? Because the midpoint is the line. If you don't get that, then it's not a good breakout. And then did volume confirm the breakout? A little bit, but not much. See this volume? Very small. Look at this volume. Now, if I got a volume bar like that over here, and this candle looks like this, then I can be a buyer here on a retest. Because volume and everything is saying, yeah, it looks good. Looks like a breakout. Did we get, well, we did right here. There was the breakout. Unfortunately, it happened pre-market because of earnings. But there's your volume spike. And is the midpoint of this candle higher than this? Yes. It's right there. But you can see how the momentum carried on to the next day. Right? That's what you're basically looking for. You're looking for momentum to carry it higher on the breakout. That's not a very good indicator. It looks like all the breakouts are going to be basically because of earnings here. No, here we go right here. Perfect. Okay, this is perfect. So here's another scenario, right? You trade up to it, but you failed. Up to it, failed. Up to it, closed above it. But is that white line the midpoint of that candle? No, it isn't. You did get a confirmation of volume on the breakout, though. It is a massive volume spike. However, the very next day told you why it was a massive volume spike. Because everybody that was trading in it this day was mostly sellers because of the very next day reaction. Okay, same scenario here. You did trade up to it. You did get a spike in volume, but did it make the candle the midpoint? No, it did not, once again. Now look at this here. Let's see. Let's go back into bar replay. Let's replay this. Okay, so we're looking for a breakout of a candlestick to be the midpoint, right? And we want to see a confirmation in volume. We want to see a spike in volume bigger than this bar. Bigger than that. We'll play one candle, boom. You got a confirmation on candle, on volume. The midpoint is way down there. So technically you could have moved this line to the new all-time high, which would have been there. Is the old all-time high lower than the midpoint? Absolutely. Did you get a confirmation of volume? Absolutely. So what are you doing? Well, you're looking to buy this. Where? Well, anywhere. Anywhere. But the preferred place to buy it would be a midpoint check of this candle. There it is. Boom. This is when you buy it. Right there. That's what you buy. Not another volume spike, which is good. That kind of indicates that there's not heavy sell side activity in the candle. And then boom. You take your money and run. But let's see if we got upside continuation. We did. Oh, I don't like this. This is a rejection and a move on volume here. I mean, a breakout on volume. So I would take profits at this point. I would exit the trade, right? I got my confirmation. I got everything I needed, volume, midpoint, yada, yada. I bought it here, like right at 94.06, which was where I wanted to be a buyer. And I'm selling it at 98.89 or 97.89. It's a profitable trade. I'm out. Done. Thank goodness. Right? You get the point. So that's what you're looking for over here. Now, you still have to use a stop because this, even with the confirmation of volume, even with the midpoint, even with all that, it still does not mean you will make money. Okay? You have to go back and do your due diligence and do what we call back testing on that setup, that specific setup. That is the easiest breakout setup that you can trade. If you're looking to trade breakouts on stocks, that's how you do it. Like, that's the most easy way to code an entry system. Look for the breakout, make sure the breakout point is the midpoint, and make sure you got a confirmation on a volume spike. Then you buy a midpoint retest. So we'll see today at the close if we get it or not here. I can tell you one thing, it's not looking great. Right? Not looking great intraday. That's not what I want to see, man. I want to see this thing taken off. Like, bah, 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 bah. Like be as bullish as the S&P was yesterday. Just grinding higher. Give me that confirmation of strength. So I would probably leave Avgo alone unless something happens and you get that move that we're looking for today. All right. But that's basically all you got to do. I got a whole bunch of them over here. Nobody, let's see here. Goog looks depressed and on a breakout. Yeah, I would stay away from Google. I don't know what this is about, but yeah, that's on an increase in volume. So in a sense, this could be a bear trap, but I mean, damn, it's a good one. It's a good one because that's a big move lower and it's on significant volume. So that literally means that if you stay trading under 170.36, this is a short. You got the 21 exponential there and the midpoint of the breakdown candle right there. That's going to be a double confluence of a potential short setup on Goog. So before I could get back interested in buying Google, I need to see this breakout right here. I need to see this thing start trading back above 170 and then show me 170 as support. NVIDIA, Microsoft is breaking out today, but we're not getting that confirmation on volume. But we did get it yesterday. but it was opposite of what we wanted to see. See, midpoint of this candle. I hope you understand the concept of midpoint. That just simply means the old all-time high is in the middle of this candle. And it is a spike on volume. It's not as big as you got here on this day. But to see how this day traded, you can pretty much say, yeah, that's this day, the volume spike was probably mostly buyers because of how this day opened, traded lower, but then rocked to the upside, closed strong. And you're seeing upside continuation today. But moving forward on Microsoft, any downside move in Microsoft, I would want to see 481 hold as support. I would not want to see like hourly candles closing under that price. Because if you do start to see those candles closing under, then there's a chance it's going to continue to go lower. All right, so we're getting a little bit of a move here on the thing that we're watching for the short, but it's still not giving me the volume that I want to see, and we still have not liquidated yesterday's high. Bitcoin did give us that. And Bitcoin's got to liquidate all the way up to 106. Yeah, Bitcoin is still bullish. But that's what I wanted to see on hype. Got a volume spike on Bohm. Bohm is also bearish. Look at this. Okay, so maybe we take the short on Bohm. Bohm is a very illiquid asset. Be very careful. Very small position size. It's at 4-hour res also. And this looks good. Volume spike there. This is 4-hour res. Okay, so since we got a spike on volume right here on this candle, as long as I guess I could take it if we get a retest of that. We might not. What is that? That's 1519. The 1517. Yeah, I like that cumulative volume delta here. I like that. Oh my. And this is super weak comparatively speaking. It didn't even get up close to the daily 21. It's the 8-hour 21 that it did encroach. There's 49 minutes. This is not a volume spike. There's 49 minutes left on this 8-hour close. This does not look like a short. I don't know. I don't know. This just doesn't trade very much. Here, it's literally traded 309,000 contracts. I like to trade things that trades hundreds of millions of contracts or hundreds of millions of tokens, not just 100,000. I would love to see a volume spike here on the 4 or 8 hour. Kind of confirm that this thing isn't moving because of the sellers. I'm seeing it on cumulative delta volume, but I'm not seeing it on regular volume by time, which I very rarely ever look at volume by time anyway. Like, this is basically the only thing I'm ever looking at. I don't even look at volume delta. I don't look at volume because volume can put you in a bad scenario. The best short on that is clearly daily res, but that's hindsight. We're not looking to do hindsight stuff. We're looking to get into a trade here, right now. We're going to give this a second here to see if we can close 5-minute candles back above 1519, because that's where we did get the intraday volume spike. So if we can close above it, then we don't necessarily want to take that entry. So what we can do is take a small entry at 1517 or 1519, but that's on Binance. On weeks, it's 1517. And then if we get the closure above it, we can just exit the trade without eating a full stop. That's if we get back up there. I can't take the short here. I just can't do that. Like, you're taking the short at last 15-minute candle closure. That's terrible. This would be the better short, but unfortunately, I might have missed it by just a few minutes. How many minutes did we miss that trade by? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. Damn you. If it runs off without me, we missed it. It's all good. We will catch another one. Right? If this rolls over and starts showing us this kind of weakness, then we might be able to catch hype. Ooh, hype is at the level that I like. And it is bearish. Ooh, we're getting a divergence too on the 1 minute. If that divergence is there on the 5 minute, it's starting to be there. Bitcoin rejecting weekly res. Volume spike by time, not really. Yeah, see, this looks to me like I'm going to get killed on a short. Whatever. I missed Bohm. Bohm is already... It's already going. Let's see if we can get on the Hypester. Fartcoin is still structured too bullish. I don't like it. This is the monthly VWAP. Once again, this blue line here on Hype. Seeing a slight tick up in volume by time. Don't let me have missed that one too. I damn sure did, dude. By freaking 2 minutes. 38,025. Oh, I'll never get filled at 38.25 on weeks. Let's just try 38 spot flat, 38 flat. Yeah, I'll try that. We'll see. All right, I got a limit sell at 38 flat. You don't need a lot of money on a position like this because these things move. I'm using 20x leverage. Fartcoin's taking off. Solana's taking off. I hate the way this moves. God, it's so ugly. But it is actually the best setup. Because it's showing a very heavy delta to the sell side. I like that, but I missed the entry, so I'm not chasing it. I just am not chasing it. I refuse to chase price. I know I'll get an entry on it. Amazon, woohoo! Looking good. Come on, baby. I need you up at 217.50 by Friday. Please. That isn't very high. 217 to be in the money. 217.65, I think. No. $72. So 217. It would have to be 218.25 to be in the money. That's in the money. In the money. Let's see, Disney just grinding higher. Bitcoin still looking strong. Yeah, I would stay out of Google. I don't like Google for sure. Baidu. Baidu. Ugh. Baidu. Baidu's is trading as an inside month. Which so is a lot of things. A lot of things are trading inside of May's range. There's your significant resistance. Oh, man. It's testing the yearly open from under. I don't like that. I don't love that. Give me 1 second. This might be a short. Retesting the 618 of the weekly range. Ooh. But here's your saving grace on this is that you've liquidated last week's low, and that's where you found support. Here's my problem. Today's Tuesday. Now, I'm going to be real with you. Tuesday doesn't call the weekly highs like we used to think. I did the math on it and did some back testing, and I will show you in the Discord where I posted the results was here. So out of 125 weeks back tested from now until back to November 2022, there were 29 Tuesdays that were the high or low of the week. So for me to say that Tuesday calls the high or low of week most of the time is false. It happens 23.2% of the time, which is less than half the time. For it to happen most of the time, it would have to happen 50.1% of the time. It does not. It happens a quarter of the percent of time. So with that being said, we do know that Tuesdays do call the high or low of the week. 23.5% of the time, though. You could be literally putting in the high of the week right now on Baidu. You're testing the yearly opening range. The only reason I do not love the short, the only reason I have not already bought a put on this is because the midpoint of today's range is where the 21 exponential moving average is. Like, you could not be more of a butthole of a position to try to take. I mean, and that's a big gap up too. Like, that's significant momentum higher. You just filled this gap. So, I mean, here's the thing. This is what I would tell you. If you want to be a buyer of this, you need a full-on close above the yearly opening range, and then you do not want to see any lower daily closes beyond that point. As long as that is the case, then yeah, maybe you can buy Baidu. It is bullish on the year if it's above that. If it's below this, it's bearish on the year. It is barely up on, well, it's testing the midpoint of the monthly range too. Right? So you've got a monthly range midpoint test and a weekly you're testing right at the midpoint of the weekly range expansion. Last week's expansion. This isn't super huge to me because it's not a breakdown week. Like, if this was a breakdown week, if this pattern was happening down here, this would have been the support, and it's down here, then I would take this short. But since this week is not a breakdown week, this could be a higher low. And my shorts have to be failures at the 21 or a failure to close above the yearly open. The point of control is setting right at the intraday where that 21 exponential is. Hit a lot of bids. So people hit the buy button right there because of the daily 21. That's why the buyers are hitting it. See where the daily 21 is? It's literally right at the 50% retracement of last week's range. You're below the 618 retracement of last month's range. Here's the 50% retracement of last month's range. So the majority of these bids could be coming from stop losses. And they could literally be selling into it right now. You know what I mean? Like right now. You got a spike on volume up there like that. Not down here by time. If we had a spike of volume right here, then I would take a short. So the best thing that I could do is just tell you to watch it today. Watch how it closes today. If it closes under but close to it, then you can still potentially be a buyer at some point. But you could literally be setting the high of week right now. Only time will tell. You're also trading above a daily resistance, but it's not the lowest close. This one was. I mean, this is a lower close, but you closed higher the next day. So this is no longer resistance. This is, as you moved above that and closed above it. So that's daily res, and then this would be the next daily res, but I like it right where it is right now. If the 21 moving average was literally here, you know what I mean? I would take the short. But since it's here, it's like, I don't know. I don't love it. Because I could wake up tomorrow, this thing could be gapping all the way up here. And then I would be in deep doo-doo on a put option. It's cheap enough to where you can sell shares on a pretty good size account, not on a small account. On a normal size trading account, you could definitely sell shares. That would probably be the best way to trade it because you can just watch and exit if it's not going your way. I'm not seeing what I need to see here for me to take the short intraday. Is basically what I'm saying. Also, cumulative volume delta, but this is the reason it's so much skewed to the bid side is because of this gigantic spike of bids up here. that happened when you stopped everybody out. But still, it is Delta is skewed to the upside. So I don't love the short, but it's just now testing it. Going back over here real quick, just because we did get that move back up on hype right here. Oh, it's actually looking more and more like support. Where is Bohm? Oh, I didn't bring Bohm over here. Bohm definitely looks weaker. But we're watching hype, not Bohm. So we didn't get the volume spike. But we did get filled on the limit sell. The volume is okay. So let's see what we get here. We're not really seeing much for some reason in the way of volume today. S&P and NQs are barely freaking moving still. Like, they're still not doing anything. That's 9:30 right there. It's 11:30. The market's been open for 2 hours and you've literally not went anywhere. Here, let me get too much. Still too much. Okay, so had I been a buyer at VWAP, that's 61.18. We're $20 off. That's not a big move. Yesterday was such a big move, these things can't get anything going. It's like going to be an inside boring, crappy day today. Microsoft looking good. Nvidia still holding, and Apple still is not broken down. So that is kind of good news for Apple. So yeah, it's like today is just a very slow, very boring day. It's a very slow, boring news day also. Fed Chair Powell says U.S. is not in a recession. Fed Hammock says latest inflation readings are encouraging. Powell says we are at a higher level of rates, significantly more room to cut than there was when rates were near zero. Powell says leverage ratio reform should encourage more mediation by banks and treasuries. U.S. to sell $63 billion of the 17-week bills on June 25th. Senior U.S. general says Houthis are likely to be a persistent problem the U.S. will be dealing with in the future. Powell says bearing the cost of tariffs can be anyone and the data... Powell says bearing the costs of tariffs can be anyone, and the data suggests at least some will fail or fall on consumers. Think we'll start to see more tariff inflation starting in June. So basically, he thinks that inflation will tick up because of tariffs. But as of right now, everything looks good. Powell also says if it turns out inflation pressures are contained, they will get to a place when they cut rates. If it turns out inflation pressures are contained, get to a place when they cut rates. Whoever's typing this out needs to be fixed. Do not need to be any rush and won't point to a particular month. We already know the market is pricing in December, September rate cut and December rate cut. 25 basis points, both cuts is what the market's pricing in still. We can go look real fast. Let's see, September, 67.5% chance that it's going to go down to 400. That's a 25 basis point rate cut. Oh, and there's a 48.9% chance they do it in October now, not December. But December says, yeah, okay, so they've moved it up from December to October. So it looks like we're going to have one more FOMC meeting in July the 30th, and they're likely not going to do anything then. But the next time we get an FOMC period will be September the 17th, and there's a 70% chance that we're going to see cuts. So naturally, the market is likely going to price those cuts in. I would love to see this right here start to show me some downside here. Give me that spike in volume. We're not seeing that just yet. But yeah, Baidu looks like a short. Just watch it. I mean, if it starts closing dailies above the yearly opening range, then I would not, copy, repeat, would not be shorting it because you're bullish on the year. And a lot of people will buy it because it's bullish on the year. You can see significant buying pressure come in for that fact alone. So be very careful on Baidu. If it rejects and continuously rejects, then I like it lower. The yearly opening range, I like it lower. I could take the short on it myself if it closes below the yearly open today. I would much rather see a significant close below. I don't think we're going to because it's got very little volume in it. It's just not showing any signs of weakness at all. So I don't look at this. I mean, it's straight up from where it opened. You've moved straight up to that point. That this isn't showing me any signs of weakness at all. At all. Maybe it does later, but as of right now, it's just not. It's not short. On the hype, it's slowly starting to move in our direction here. As I got filled on this spike up right there, my entry is 38 flat. It's different. Here it is over here on weeks. 38 flat. It's just different. Right there's 38. As far as, yeah, I guess that's about right. Yeah. My entry is like right at. Oh, that's a 15-minute chart, bro. Would you come on? My entry is the close, like the close of this candle, the open of this candle. That's my short side entry. So technically, it's like a 1-to-1 right now. If high of day is my stop. The reason we wanted to short this was because it's bearish on volume delta, and this blue line is the June VWAP. So if there's more sell side in the whole month of June, this is a good point to look to be short from. But on the 4-8 and daily charts, not really seeing that short. There's a spike in volume right there on that move lower. Not seeing it in the delta spike, but we are seeing it in volume by time. It's not a significant spike, but it is a spike, I guess. It's bigger than these upswing candles. Yeah. Multi-screen. Yeah, I got a lot of screens. I got 5 of them. I got 4 monitors. I have 3, what are they, baby? 27-inch monitors. And then I have a big 42-inch widescreen monitor that I use as 2 monitors. So here are my screens that I just have set up on OBS, right? This screen, and this screen. This screen is the screen I was supposed to be on. So maybe that's what you're talking about. Multi-screens. Yeah, I'm terrible at it. Terrible at it. You guys got to hit me up. Let me know when I'm doing stuff wrong. But right here, see this? This is where I got filled on my short. Right there, 38 flat on the week's exchange. So we're starting to see a slight move lower and a little tiny tick up in volume. The candle was bigger than this spike would be a little bit bigger, but it is what it is. All right, we want to see volume increase as prices go lower to show us this weakness. We're not really seeing it here. This is the weakness that we want. We want to see weakness come in here and up there. Bitcoin is still just bleh, not doing anything today. A lot of these things aren't doing anything today. Fartcoin is rolling over. Sol is rolling over. And Bohm is rolling over. So we did miss the Bohm short by a couple minutes. But I don't know that it's going to remain a short, clearly. The markets are still up. ES and NQ are currently moving up right now. Apple is still moving up, which is what we wanted to see. It's just, I mean, I wouldn't call that a full-on support test. I would like to see a more aggressive move higher. This is not a very aggressive move higher. Amazon failing at the March open again. Google, not a very aggressive move higher. AMD looks good. AMD broke back out above the 21 exponential way down here. Still very bearish. Oh, no, it's not. There's your 25 yearly open. You're bullish on the year again on AMD. I've never even seen that happen. Big spike on volume right here as it blasted through the yearly opening range. And then four bearish days in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, but it was making higher closes, even though the candles closed negative. The closes were higher each successive day. And now you're seeing it take off. The AMD starting to look good again. Any retest of the yearly opening range moving forward on into the year. Like I say, as long as it's holding on a daily closing basis, I would probably be keen to buy that. That's a fresh yearly high, guys, on AMD today. That was your yearly high. So you're making fresh yearly highs. Right here was your yearly high. Making fresh yearly highs today. Yeah. A retest of support would be a good. Let's see, what is Intel doing? Poor Intel. It just can't get anything going, can it? Why does Intel suck so bad? I thought Intel was a good company. They employ hundreds of thousands of people. NASDAQ moving up hard. It's basically because of Microsoft. Because Apple still ain't doing anything. Microsoft is having a good damn day. So your NASDAQ is about to make fresh all-time highs. Right here. Getting closer and closer to breaking that. There's where you got to get to on an intraday basis. You got a little ways to go. All in all, I mean, the markets look good. Your ADD's good. Yeah, it's hard to be a bear in this scenario. VIX is trending lower. You're currently making lower lows on the day. Lower lows on the VIX is a good thing. All right, guys. Any other questions? Any other assets in particular that you want me to look at? ELF currently testing yearly opening range today, but failing. It's not a full-on test, but it's not a full-on rejection either. I guess that is technically a rejection. But it's you know, it's a bid. FE breaking back above Equifax, breaking back above yearly opening range today. Little bit of resistance still above it in the 200 simple and 21 exponential. Ford looking good. Let's see. There's your China ETF. It's up on the year, so people still like China. China's still making money. So that's why you're seeing that up move in Baidu. GE looking good. Big strong day yesterday on GE. Very, very up on the year. Almost at all-time highs, but looking good on the year. 2025 has been a good year for GE. What's Boeing look like? Let's see. Let's go see what the war stocks look like. Ooh, sorry, Nancy. Rejection on the 2025 yearly opening range for Lockheed Martin. Not great. I guess people are tired of sitting in this thing all year. It has literally gone nowhere. It's been pinging back and forth from 2024 to 2025. What a terrible, terrible stock to own this year. Boeing had a fantastic move, and then they had a terrible plane crash not too long ago in India that caused the stock to sell off hard. May God rest their poor souls. That sucks, man. I hate planes. That's why I don't travel on them. Hate them. I have flown many times, but I do not like it. RTX is up. It's coming in for a retest. I would not be a buyer of this retest here, especially now that we're winding down on that front. You got Northrop and Grumman is currently testing the daily 21 exponential, not the weekly. There's still plenty of room for it to go lower on the weekly chart before people would start to be a buyer on it again. LHX, which is Harris Technologies, looking okay. Where's year to date? Looks good year to date. This might be a buyer if it holds support 245. Might be, but I don't know. I mean, like I said, a lot of these could see some profit taking come into these things. Big day on Kratos. Big down day. It's only normal. They're getting crushed. S&P's doing good. Gold futures pulling back now at the bottom edge of the BWAP band. Hype still rolling over. Looks okay. Bitcoin struggling at 8-hour res. S&P 500 trading well above 4-hour res. Trading well above 8-hour res. SPX, though, is testing. Yeah, I know, that's disgusting chart. Upper edge of the expected range high. All-time high on the cash market, 61.47. But you're at the expected range high. I would not be a seller in here. I wanted a retest of this stuff down in here to be a buyer. We didn't get that move. I mean, it just straight opened up yesterday, was strong, put in a bullish engulfing, and you got upside continuation today. People are going to try to sell this. I would not do that. Don't do that. But it is testing that. All right, I guess nobody has any other questions. We'll wrap it up. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day. It looks like it's going to be a very, very slow sideways and very boring day. We were able to take a short on hype. It's going okay. I mean, it's not rocking and rolling yet, but it is moving in the correct direction. And the longer time that it spends under 37.64, I like it lower, right? As long as it's under that point, I like it lower. Above that, and especially if it spends a lot of time above it, then you're probably going to see a spike higher. But if it can stay under 37.64, I like this thing lower. And Fartcoin is just a meme token as well. But I mean, the area that I was watching for Fartcoin to find resistance, it has not yet. That's going to be your 2024 yearly opening range, and then down here at 2025 yearly opening range. It's bearish on the month, but as of right now, I mean, it's trying to be bullish again. Trying to be bullish again. It's like rejecting the June lows. The old June lows. So, I mean, these things could spike. So you got to keep your risk tight. Tight risk. Tight risk. I'm not looking for it to like roll over and die or anything like that. It's just there's not much utility in something like this. I can't imagine anyways. And what else? What else? Oh, Amazon. Amazon, we're wanting to see it break out above March's open. And you can see the position that I took. 218.25 is where I need price to get by the close of Friday to be in the money on that trade. If that happens today, which I doubt it will, that's a big move on Amazon. But if it happens today, that's about $2.70. I paid 72 cents for the trade. That would be more than a 2x gain on that. So here's the thing. It's a 3-day expiration, and you're going to lose probably a cool 20 cents per day on the premium. So that would put it in the money on Friday, say at the open on Friday. I could see those going for at least double what I paid for them. So not bad, right? That's a 100x return or 100% return on investment, but it needs to get up there. It's got to get there. I can't close it until it gets there. We'll see if it can. I was hoping it would get a lot more volume and a lot more expansion today based on the fact that it didn't do shit yesterday. We didn't get that. It didn't do anything yesterday. So I was hoping it would come out just tearing to the upside because all these shorts are stuck hard. And you had a very good 2 days of downside there. So it really made it look like the trade was a short yesterday. It wouldn't have been for me, but Friday would have been a good short. Friday, you could have scalped that out. It's just not really going down. You know what I mean? Longer term, it's slowly migrating higher. Basically, we just liquidated these pre-market lows. That's not even going to show up on the daily chart. And up it went. It went up hard at the post-market. So we'll see if we can get up here. According to the indicator, it could do it, right? As far as daily ranges are concerned. There's a $5 expected range on this per day. Like per day. That's your average true range. And our target was $5 higher. That's why we went with the $5 higher target. From the open to there, it's $5. $5. We got 3 days to go $5. Let's see it. Come on, baby. Get up there and we'll be good. All right, so those are the only 2 trades we were able to take this morning. We'll see how they play out. You guys have can we get a Discord link? No, the Discord link it's set up for premium. It's a premium service, actually, unfortunately. Yeah. You can follow me on Twitter. I don't charge any money for that, and I answer questions. I answer questions on the videos. I'm not afraid to answer questions. It's just I set that up for, yeah, I set that up years ago. It's winding down, so there's no point in shilling anything like that anymore. But yeah. All right, we'll see you guys on the next one. Maybe tomorrow will be a better day to go live. I don't know. We'll see what it looks like pre-market. If it looks like things are shaking and we're getting some moves or something, maybe we'll go live again tomorrow. I don't mind going live every day. As long as someone's here, I'll go live. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Make sure you guys trade safe, trade smart, and as always, happy trading, everybody.